stuck at home, learning on our phones. So here's something more for you kids. Hey everyone, welcome back to West Hollywood Youth Orchestra's Basic Music Series. I'm Nunzio Sisto, and I'll be your host for episode 2, Music Notation. Before we jump into the second episode, let's review a couple things we learned in the first. We learned in the first chapter that music is built of frequencies, or vibrations per second. This is A440. This vibrates 440 times per second. The second thing we learned is the octave, or pitch classes, and that is anything that vibrates at 440 times per second is an A. But if I double the vibrations to get 880, or half the vibrations to get 220, all of these notes are considered to be in the pitch class A. And what does that mean? That means that anything that vibrates double or half of 440, 880, all the way down to 220, 110, and 55 is considered an A. The third part of our review are the 7 natural notes. So far we know notes are made of frequencies. When you double or half a frequency, you get what we call an octave, or a pitch class. And finally, there are 7 natural notes. These are most obvious on the keyboard. Starting with A, we use the first 7 letters of the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then repeat again to A. Now we're going to move on to music notation. Music notation was originally created to notate vocal music. And this is very important for understanding how we read and write music today. As we move on, you're going to notice a little number next to the capital letter. That number signifies what octave we're in. As you can see from the piano, I have more than one octave. The pattern repeats 7 to 8 times. So the little number lets me know which octave I'm in, whether I'm in the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, or 7th octave. So let's talk about the limits. Well, vocal music is written for the human voice, and the human voice is finite. The human voice cannot sing every note on the piano. Some are too low and some are too high. And so out of all 88 keys on the piano, the human vocal range really only goes from low E to this high B. So we don't actually need a system to notate all the notes. We just need a system to notate some of the notes. If we go a step further, basses only sing this portion, tenors sing this portion, altos sing this portion, and sopranos sing this portion. So out of this whole range, we only need certain chunks to be represented at certain moments. Notice in this chart how we break up the available notes of the human vocal range into the 4 voice types: bass, tenor, alto, and soprano. Since no single voice type can sing all the notes, a system was created to focus on the range of the voice. And the range of the voice refers to the actual notes that can be sung and are required by the singer. So we have these frequencies that can be double or half to create the same pitch class. We have 7 natural notes, and we have 4 types of singers, some that can sing the lower notes and some that can sing the higher notes. Where do we go from here? Well, it was decided that 5 lines and 4 spaces was comfortable for humans to read and easily discernible to tell which notes were written. But how do you know which notes go on which line and which notes go on which space? Well, we have these things called clefs, or keys. And the key, almost like a legend on a map, tells you what each line and each space stands for. Each clef has an orientation note, and what that note tells you is what octave you're in and what pitch class is located on which line. This may sound confusing, but you're going to see in a moment it's actually just a very simple graphing system. The G clef comes from the capital G, and it tells us that a G is located on the second to the bottom line. But which G? There's more than one G in the musical scale. Well, the treble clef only refers to the G below A440. So whenever you see a G clef, you know that this pitch class is located on the second to bottom line. And anytime you see a note on that second to bottom line with a treble clef, you're going to play specifically this G. But that doesn't work for all the other voices, because with only 5 lines, you would run out of space for the other notes. So moving to the next clef, or the alto clef, that clef tells us that this C is located on the middle line. And as you can assume, moving up or down from that C, I can get a D, or I can get a B. And finally, the bass clef. The bass clef covers tenors and basses, and it tells us where this F is. And this is the F below A220. So looking at our charts, we can see that out of the 26 available notes, each clef focuses on a specific range based on a vocal line. Thanks for joining us today. I know we're throwing a lot at you, but it's going to get simpler as we go on. What I want you to take from this lesson today is that out of all the available notes, the music notation system focuses on a range or only a certain portion of all the notes available based on what instrument is reading it. For a follow-up to today's lesson, please visit us at YTOoA.org, and there you can find Lesson 2 coursework. In that Lesson 2 coursework, we're going to teach you how to write clefs and how to write your basic notes, getting ready for Lesson 3. Salve et toilette. If you're enjoying West Hollywood Youth Orchestra's Basic Music Series, of course, please subscribe and visit us at YTOoA.org for follow-up lesson plans and more help on your journey to becoming